weighed me. I did the colon hydrotherapy session. They weighed me again. I dropped 10 pounds of impacted fecal material in an hour session.
That
And
was
that doc,
just stuck in your intestines, your small and large intestine, just like from
yeah,
the
yeah,
years of buildup.
yeah, in the colon. And then the record at the Institute was one lady dropped 27 pounds in 1 hour.
Let's learn how our next guests get up, dress up, and show up on purpose. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Looney Lewis, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show. Boy, does he have a story to share with you, but I want to briefly tell you about who he is. Tim James. After suffering from multiple health issues, including rectal bleeding, two separate skin issues, chronic acid ingestion, indigestion, and surgery to remove one of his organs due to serious digestive issues, Tim knew something had to change. But it was only after watching his closest ones die of cancer and the untimely death of his younger brother that he finally decided to take action. His journey led him to a shocking discovery, which helped his friend beat cancer and transform every area of his life. Feeling charged with a duty to help others, he started sharing his knowledge with anyone that he could and would listen. So I am excited to bring him on the show. He has a product line as well. And so looking forward to hearing about his background. With no further ado, Tim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Lunid, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to share with your audience today.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Looking forward to having you. Man, your story, the chronic issues that you experienced, that kind of led you to birth this new business model to help others, to contribute and serve others. It's really, really refreshing to hear how out of pain comes an opportunity. And so tell us about your journey. Tell us about how you got here thus far.
Absolutely. So I actually grew up over in Eastern Oregon on a small cattle and hay farm. So I pretty much grew up redneck. We were hunting and fishing and doing all that kind of stuff. I played baseball at a high level for over 30 years. And then at age 37, I found myself with all these problems. I had acid reflux, eating Tums and Rolaids all day long. I had eczema on both my elbows, a huge patch on my knee. They would crack and bleed. As a financial advisor, I had to stop wearing white shirts because I would ruin them because I'd bleed on them. If I
Wow.
was over at your house hanging out, I'd bump against your wall or your couch, and I'd have cleaning up blood all the time. So it was kind of painful and embarrassing. And then, I had another skin issue on my shoulder. So, being 42 pounds overweight, looking like a salamander, it was kind of I was an A-type person, but it was like, God, I didn't want to take my shirt off on the beach anymore because I just was uncomfortable the way I looked.
Yeah.
And then it got worse. Then I started bleeding rectally when I pooped, and that went on for 2.5 years. And the doctors wanted to put me on Prilosec and do these other stuff. And I just, for some reason, it just sounded weird to me. I just knew instinctively, I guess, to not do that stuff. But yet at the same time, I didn't know my diet. I didn't know anything about this. I knew
Yeah.
nothing about detoxing, any of this stuff. And then on a trip, I had to, down in Peru, I actually got life basically driven and flown to a hospital to get an organ removed in emergency surgery. And didn't get to use my insurance because it didn't work down there.
Hmm.
But so that was terrible. But then I was wheeled back into the United States by my wife at the time. And that's when I learned that my poor health didn't affect just me. It affected everybody else around me. We completely ruined this beautiful trip on this beach. I mean, it was awesome. It was just south of Ecuador and northern Peru. It was unbelievable. And I came back, and then a buddy of mine died of cancer on my baseball team, going through chemo and surgery and all that crap. And then another friend of mine got diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia, which is a supposedly incurable blood cancer. And that's when things started changing because Charles said, "Hey, look, they don't have much for me, but I'm going to go to this place in Florida called the Hippocrates Health Institute." Have you
Yeah.
heard of them?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so they're like, at the time they're a 61-year-old clinic. Now it's like 65, 66 years old. One of the oldest detox nutrition clinics in the world. 50 acres of paradise and the cleanest food and the water. I mean, it's just, and then doctors and 40 hours of education a week. And he said, "Will you go to support me?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I had no idea what I was getting into, being the big, meat eater and meat and potatoes type guy, and cake and ice cream, candy and donuts and all that stuff.
Sounds like
And
the rest of us.
yeah, I mean, but I ate a lot. Like, I was like when my kids got done eating food, if there's anything left over, I was the garbage disposal. I just finished everything off. So, anyway, I go there with him, and day one, Lunid, my acid reflux was gone. But then by day 2, day 3, I started feeling not so good. So you go through this detox process. I went from like standard American diet right to eating like a chipmunk, basically.
Total shock.
Yeah. And I didn't have it as bad as most people. I had night sweats. I was very irritable. I had a metallic taste coming out of my tongue. Other people had skin rashes breaking out. People had parasites actually coming out of their pores. One lady at lunchtime had a parasite crawling out of her eye. I was like, "Hey,
Wow.
you got a bug crawling out of your eye there." And what we learned from this class, the first class we took there was called Internal Awareness. It was a 3.5-hour lecture explaining what happens from the time you chew food until what happens when it goes through the body and when it exits. That was really enlightening. But what freaked me out is that they were pushing to do colon hydrotherapy. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for the listeners, you basically, if you don't know what that is, I didn't. It's colonics or colon hydrotherapy. You set on a tube rectally, and water gently goes in and out of your colon for an hour, and they clean your colon.
Yeah.
Well, I elbowed Charles. I said, "Look, dude, I came here to help you, but I'm not doing that deal." Right. But then they started showing pictures, Lunid, of they showed a healthy colon. They like a colonoscopy scope, like a camera went in there, and it's all pink and you see the blood vessels, everything. It's like, this is how people eat when they eat on our lifestyle. And then they said, this is people on the standard American diet. And they showed like a 24-year-old woman with Hashimoto's and like a yeast infection or something. And it was like white and yellow and nasty. And then a 64-year-old man with prostate cancer and parasites. He had worms crawling around him. I'm like, oh my God. And then the doctor's like, yeah, 50% of people have parasites, and they're not just the hookworms, the pinworms, and the tapeworms. The big ones you can see, there's smaller ones, and they're all eating your food and your drinks, and they're urinating and defecating in you and causing more acid. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
And then the next woman's like, let's say a 45-year-old woman with breast cancer and Graves' disease or something, right? So, and then it's yellow and brown and nasty in there. And I said, okay, I'm the first one. I signed up. The next day, they weighed me. I did the colon hydrotherapy session. They weighed me again. I dropped 10 pounds of impacted fecal material in an hour session.
That was just stuck in your intestines, your small and large intestine, just like from the years of buildup.
Yeah, in the colon. And then the record at the institute was one lady dropped 27 pounds in 1 hour. She had 27 pounds of impacted fecal material. So if you guys don't get anything else out of this today, just because you can't see it, it's inside of you.
Wow.
You can't, and what we can't see, it's out of sight, out of mind. You might be OCD, your kitchen's clean, but on top of your refrigerator, 9 times out of 10, there's dust up there because it's out of sight, out of mind. So what do? You take care of your skin, you take care of your hair, you put your makeup on, you comb your hair, you put on your suit and tie, you hit the road looking good. But what about the inside? What are you doing to take care of the inside? And what I found out was that if you learn how to take care of the inside, specifically these little hair-like structures lining the intestinal tract called villi,
yeah,
and you give them a good environment, man, you're going to come back to life like you can't believe. You can heal up so fast. Your skin's going to be beautiful. You want beautiful skin? Have a beautiful digestive tract. That's where it really boils down to. And we went home, we stuck with this deal, changed our lifestyles. And in 2.5 years, my friend was free of cancer. It's been 11 years. I just saw him yesterday. We played guitar together. He went from bankruptcy, cancer diagnosis to thriving business, healthy. And he's ran like 6 marathons. I ran one of them with him. I can't believe I did it. But that was the first one he did. We did it together in 2012, actually before he was actually cancer-free. We trained with the Lymphoma Leukemia Society and finished that marathon together. It was an epic moment. And then after that, my little brother passed away, and that's what kind of motivated me to get into this health space and stop being a financial advisor and start, helping people get their health right.
What the heck was going on? So you had the acid reflux, you had all these issues that were unexplained, right? And so you went to help your friend out and attended this detox. And so any diagnosis, any issues that doctors could
Well, I
pinpoint?
mean, it was like I had leaky gut syndrome. So when you don't chew your food really well, and
Mhm.
and these are part of our core four secrets, which is chewing your food, and you drink a lot of liquids with meals. You what happens is you're destroying your intestinal villi. So what you want digestion and assimilation of nutrients, and you don't chew your food well, you're not secreting the enzymes in your mouth, amylase and lipase, to break down your starches and fats. So you have to preload your food with these enzymes that secrete from your mouth, these ducts in your mouth.
Yeah.
Then they go down and they shake and bake and they do most of the digestion in your gut. If you do that, but then you drink liquids, whether it's really good purified restructured water, or if it's beer or wine or apple juice, whatever, you're diluting those digestive enzymes and you're going right back to fermentation and gut rot. So what happened was I've been fermentating and gut rotting myself my whole life. And what happens is you get these little microscopic tears or holes in the intestinal lining. That's called leaky gut. And your gut starts leaking into your bloodstream undigested food particles and microbes and viruses and bacteria and mold and yeast and fungus and parasites. All this crap gets into the bloodstream. And then, man, that's where the inflammation begins. And it could show up as cancer. It could show up as Hashimoto's. It could show up as Graves' disease. It could show up as headaches. It could show up as eczema like I had, or psoriasis. It could show up as anything like fibromyalgia, whatever your predisposition to a weakness is. As your body's breaking down, it will show up.
And it just run havocs on your life, because if you're not healthy inside, then everything else in the external, you're not healthy there either. So this is extremely mind blowing. So tell us about how you the product line that you and your team developed to help combat this. Yeah,
Well,
and
basically, it's fixing the man-made problems and plugging people back into nature, and it's tough. The real answer, like if people want to heal, I mean, literally what they need to do is they need to get purified restructured water and literally go sit out in the woods for 3 days and drink water. I mean, there's probably nothing that's going to reset your immune system faster and reset your spiritual compass. But barring that happening, because you're busy and you got kids and you got all that stuff, what we do is we basically solve some of the biggest problems. Number one, your gut, average person's got 6 to 12 pounds of impacted fecal material and mucoid plaque lining the small and large intestine. We
Mhm.
brought a product over from India. We call it Gut Detox. It's 1,000-year-old ancient formula. It's very gentle. There is no diarrhea when you take it, which is very good for a busy person working, traveling, playing sports. You can literally take it when you're traveling, start the detox. And you double down on it for 15 days. And in 15 days, you take 3 in the morning, 3 at night, and you're going to drop that 6 to 12 pounds of all that funk and gunk and junk you accumulated. But again, there's no diarrhea. So boom, you get that out. Now, we still recommend colon hydrotherapy. I still think it's a great thing to do. But after 11 years of doing this work, a lot of people are not going to do it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
very convincing, but they're not going to do it. So we have an easy product for them to do. The next big problem is then, okay, now the pathway and the gut is all cleaned up. Now we need nutrients. 85% of the nutrients have been farmed out of our soil.
Mm-hmm.
They're not there. So if you're eating, even people that are going to more organic and this kind of stuff, if it's not in the soil, it's not in the plant, or it's not in the soil, the plant, and the animal that you're eating. So
Correct.
we're literally walking around in 15% fuel. People have no idea how much potential they have and how good they can feel when they top off the tank and they're at 100% octane. So I literally healed myself, Lunid, with green juices.
Yeah.
And I grew sunflower and pea sprouts and wheatgrass, and we juiced that stuff, and with cucumber and celery, and did that every day for 5.5 years. I sold a lot of juicers for these juicer companies, but guess what? A lot of people in a month or 2 or 3, the juicer's under the cupboard and they're not doing it no more. Why? I'm like, why aren't you doing this? You saw Charles healed himself of cancer. I lost all the weight. I got my abs back. My health, my eczema's gone. I feel
Yeah.
amazing. They're like, look, Tim, like it takes too long. It's too expensive. And I want to clean that damn juicer. So I was like, okay. So we end up developing a product called Green 85 to replace that. So we took highly concentrated juice extracts
Mm-hmm.
and herbs and and minerals, and we concentrated them and then put them into a powder. So you just add it to water, shake it up, and drink it. Okay, so that solves that problem, and I just
Mm-hmm.
do that twice a day. And then what's the problem? Well, your bacteria in your gut, you have to replace the bacteria. Stress kills these bacteria. We have over 60 trillion bacteria in our body. They're a huge part of us. 380 trillion viruses in the body, 60 trillion bacteria, only 6 trillion human cells. So we're more viruses and bacteria than we are human cells, if you want to do the number counting. So that gut bacteria is very important. It's for your brain health because the gut brain connection.
Yeah.
So we recommend getting outside and getting in the dirt, and because that's where these soil-based bacteria come from. They come from the soil. So we have a product, it's probiotics and prebiotics, which is
Mm-hmm.
also the food to feed them. We got that. Most people are familiar with that. And then another product is really important is the toxins. All people have to do is look up these three words when you're done listening to the show: umbilical cord and chemical. Umbilical cord and chemical. And you'll see the same studies that I saw going back to 2005, that every single young mother and child being born today, they test for 400 chemicals. They find 250 of what they look for, and 180 cause cancer in humans, and 212 cause developmental and brain disorders. So what I sat back in my chair and I was like, oh my God, we're all polluted. And
Yeah.
the older we are, the more time we've had to bioaccumulate these toxins in our blood, our fat, and our muscle tissue. And if we ever want to have good health, we have to get them out. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're there. So
Mm-hmm.
we developed a product called Toxin Detox with our formulator, Dr. Scott Treadway, and we have that. So we have other products too. I don't want to talk all about the products, but we have tools. Each one of these are tools in the toolkit, and all of our stuff's wild crafted. It's air dried or sun dried under 110 degrees. And more importantly, you need to look at your food you eat, start reading labels and the supplements you're taking. Like, most people don't know this, Lanid, but 85% of the supplements on the market are made by pharmaceutical companies.
Yep.
Did you know that?
Filled with sodium and yes, just the
Synthetics.
processed stuff. Yeah.
It's synthetic. So 92% in total of all the supplements on the shelf, 92% are synthetic. Only 8% are whole food or food-based and herbal-based. But then there's another problem. They send this stuff off to manufacturers, and the manufacturers do these things called excipients: binders, fillers, and flow agents. Binders to keep the tablets together, fillers to fill up the capsule, because the synthetics don't take much room, and Americans are not going to buy an empty capsule,
Yeah.
right? And flow agents to have their encapsulation machines work quickly so they can it's all about production, speed, and money. Well, guess what? Magnesium stearate is used. Silicon dioxide is used, dicalcium phosphate. Silicon dioxide is a level 3 toxin on the EPA's toxin list, yet it's in most supplements. So I'm just trying to tell people, like, check your labels. If you see magnesium stearate, silicon dioxide, dicalcium phosphate, get a refund, get your money back. So there's only literally maybe 2 to 5%, maybe probably around 1 to 2% of the companies, because I'm a label reader, the supplement companies that actually did just nature. And that's what we believe in. We believe we got to get the man-made toxic chemicals out of the blood, out of the fat, out of the muscle tissue, clean up your gut, reduce your stress, flood the body with purified, restructured water, get people chewing their food, avoid liquids with meals, do some breath work before you eat. And then we have our product line as tools to clean, kind of clean things up and flood you with nutrition and bacteria. And then the body comes back. And we have hundreds of other hacks to share with people
Yeah.
in our coaching program.
Add gratitude to when you're eating too. Being grateful for the farmer, for raising it, for the land, for the soil. It will help with digestion. It'll kind of get you in that state of mind to receive and to properly digest, or have dinner with family. That's a keystone habit. You have a dinner with family, then it helps you're talking, you're having the conversation, so you can properly chew your food. Because when we started, you talked about not properly chewing, and that kind of leads to all these issues, digestive issues that can come up. So it's imperative to be mindful. I mean, I think I drove past McDonald's and I saw a sign up at the door that says ingredients may cause cancer, and yet people are still buying.
Well, it's the same thing like Monsanto and the whole the Roundup deal, the glyphosate. Every time I go home to my mom and dad's, they got the TV on because they're older, and then there's a attorney commercial comes on. It says, if you've been exposed to glyphosate, the main ingredient in Roundup, and you have lymphoma cancer, you may be entitled to compensation. Please contact XYZ Law Company. Yet you can still go down to your home and garden center and buy Roundup and spray it on your out on your. I saw a gal just yesterday. I was driving home. She's spraying Roundup on her driveway and then stepping on where she sprays, getting it on her shoes, breathing that crap in, giving herself cancer, and then taking it into the house, and then probably getting it on her family.
That's crazy.
And I did it as a farmer, no judging. My dad's like, hey, go kill the weeds in the ditch. And he gave me the can. I went and sprayed the Roundup. I didn't know. I was just doing what I was told.
We didn't know any better, but when you know better, you can do better, right, Tim? That's essentially what you're saying, is that raising that awareness. Read your label, read the labels of everything that you purchase or you're using around the house, because those chemicals, those toxins, they are airborne. Like you're inhaling it. You might listen, we absorb toxic just by being alive, as you
Yeah.
mentioned. Just we don't have to go find it. It's in the paint, it's in everything, the house of stuff we clean the home with. It's in all these things that we're inhaling. So it does take effort in terms of releasing and cleaning and getting rid of that radical, especially radical toxins out of the body. How long does it take, right? Because I'm 30. It took 3 decades of building this body and getting these toxins in there. How long do you say it takes on your program and your system to actually fully detox?
Well, I would say on our system, without changing your diet, just in the beginning, um, you're probably going to dump about maybe 30 to 40% of the stuff just in the first 10 days. Now, if you go to like a Hippocrates Health Institute and you switch over to raw living foods as a cleansing mechanism, in 3 weeks, you're probably going to drop about 60%, right? But
Yeah.
then it's going to take 7 years to get the other 40% out. So
Mm.
what does that mean? Because people are like, wow, I wanted to do a little 10-day or 5-day detox and just kind of hit the road, It's
Yeah.
like, well, no, what it means is that it has to be a lifestyle. Because like you said, the paint in the house is off gas and you're breathing it in. If you're
Hmm.
wearing polyesters or lycra bras or nylon panties or underwear, microfibers, these things are off-gassing estrogen mimicking chemicals. Why? Well, where are they from? Well, they come from crude oil and they process them with chemicals. And even over 1,000 washes, these shirts and clothing is being tested. It's still off-gassing 97%. And then when you wash them,
Yeah.
these microplastics are going. The microplastics is like a big thing. They're going out into the ocean. They're getting into the water. Fish 1,500 miles into the interior have both male and female organs, little 2 and 2.5 inch fishies. Why? Because the estrogen mimickers from plastics are turning them, disrupting their hormonal imbalance and turning them into hermaphrodites. And it's doing the same thing to us on at some level. So we have a massive amount of toxic chemicals that we are dealing with. And what about just rubber compounds? When you buy a new tire
Yeah.
on your car, well, where does the tire go? Why do you have to go buy new tires every so often? Where'd the rubber go?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
It rubber compounds off of tires. They fly up into the air 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, and they're floating around. We breathe them in. They go and attach to the back of our mucous membrane and down into the gut, and then they bioaccumulate. That's what
Wow.
happens. Jet
Wow.
fuel, automobile exhaust. Like you said, we live in a polluted world. And one of the best statements ever was at Hippocrates Health Institute. Dr. Brian Clement was doing a lecture, and this guy goes, "Okay, I went through the detox. This guy's like 50. He goes, I feel like I'm 19 again. I feel amazing. But how do I go home and live this crazy life in the real world?"
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor said, "You have it all wrong." He said, "What you have to understand is that the question is how do you go home and live in a real way in a crazy world?" And that's where we are today. So we have to take control of our health. We have to take responsibility for every aspect of our life. And then we can change. And we have to do it ourselves. Our aunts, our kids, our parents, nobody's going to do it for you. Your doctor's not going to do it for you. We can have doctors and healthcare practitioners helping us and assisting us, building up our team. But then I would suggest that they're healthy too. You don't want to go to an overweight dietitian or a blind ophthalmologist, right? They're not going to help you. How can they? They can't even help themselves,
Yeah. I'm so
right?
glad you unpacked that. How do you live in the real world with all this going on? And it starts with you. It starts with that awareness. It starts with you making
Yes.
the change around you, and then let it be a domino effect.
Yeah. And it has to be a lifestyle. That's why people are like I said, it's a 7 years. Why? Because in 7 years, if I took every single cell out of your body and put it in a folder in a big, huge, a drawer, and then we come back 7 years later, you are a completely different person. All cells are different.
Right.
So
I
you
heard,
have, yeah.
I heard that theory with every 11 months we were generating new cells, like a new body. So we have to ensure that it's new when you put the right nutrition in it. So it's not the same body as the old one.
Yes. So this boils down, Lunid, to what? A lifestyle.
Yeah.
It has to be a lifestyle that's set up. Now you do an initial detoxing, all that stuff, but you're still doing things we call it the daily detox, like drinking lots of purified, restructured water, taking gut detox, taking the toxin detox. It takes like 1 minute in the morning. Those are my insurance policies. I'm good to go. I buy, another thing, if your shampoo says sodium lauryl sulfate on it, that is a known carcinogen, cancer causer. Or if your toothpaste says harmful if swallowed,
Can you hear me?
Yes, it is. And when I came home, I looked at my, yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear? Oh, okay, cool. So what I was saying is like I came home and my shampoo, it said the first ingredient, sodium lauryl sulfate. And I was like, dang it. And then I looked at my toothpaste, harmful if swallowed. Please contact the Poison Control Center. So we have to look at every single thing. They actually even spray our TVs with fire retardants that are
Oh,
toxic.
geez.
You know,
This is so
so
alarming. You're like
but
bringing light.
but it's really easy. It's like you just get back to nature. Don't freak out about it because we don't want to cause stress. Just breathe. And then as you buy new clothing, change your clothing, make sure you're buying natural fibers. Stop, putting Glade air fresheners in, get yourself a diffuser and start using good essential oils. It's just little things. Get yourself healthy soap, get yourself healthy shampoos, these types of things, healthy toothpaste, and you're going to be healthier and you're going to feel better and you're going to raise your vibrational frequency and you're going to live longer. You're going to look younger and you're going to feel way better. And you're going to be a contributing member to society and you're going to be an example to your kids, your family, and your community.
Well said. Tim, we have to get into it. Your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up?
I wake up usually around 6 o'clock, and then I drink a quart of this purified, restructured water. And that's really important that you have that. And if people have interest on that, this gal hooked me up with this restructuring machine. Her name's Danusha, but everybody still always emails me trying to get a hold of her. So we set up a landing page called My Purified Water. So if you want to get a free consult with Danusha, it's mypurifiedwater.com. Yeah. But once you get I drink a quart of that, and then I put a little handful, just a little teeny bit of salt, and I throw it in my mouth. Okay. And then what I'll do is I'll go up and I bounce on a mini trampoline for 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'll do this other Qigong movement where I'm twisting my body and letting my arms flop around and hit my organs. I do that for about 5 minutes. Then I do a forward fold for about 5 minutes and just start opening up my back and my spine. And then I have this thing called X3 bar, which is a elastic band workout. I do it for 8 to 10 minutes. It's one of my hacks. I have hundreds of clients that are using it, and you can literally triple your muscle growth, strengthen your bones with no injuries and no soreness in 8 minutes to 10 minutes. This morning, an infrared sauna for 20 minutes. Amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. Do you take saunas?
I do saunas. Yeah, I mean, I love what it does to the body. Just sweating and detoxing, clearing out the skin. It's pretty phenomenal. I do it.
Do you have a sauna?
At the gym. I have one at the gym. So after a workout, I'll sit in it for 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll hook you up with one. There's I used to sell saunas for 10 years, and I just sold my $5,400 sauna and bought this little $1,900 unit because it's 6 times better. These people have like literally cracked the code. It's really tiny too. It weighs 33 pounds. You can take it with you. Just plug it into a 110. It's about the size of a stove when you're setting in it. And it's awesome. So
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have to add, I gotta let you go very soon. Why salt? I add Himalayan salt into my water in the morning.
Yeah.
So, but tell me why you add salt.
Well, because we purify the water so much, and then we restructure it, and it's down on the mineral. So we just throw some minerals in, and then that helps with absorption of it and replacing some minerals. It just works better.
Yeah, it does have minerals magnesium also Himalayan salt has that adds to the water. So Tim, how can we connect with you? Where can we find you? What's your website?
chemicalfreebody.com. That's chemicalfreebody.com. And if people are interested in products, they can just go to the product tab, click the drop down. I would suggest doing the savings bundles because you can get a discount. You can start with the Jumpstart bundle or go all the way in like I do and do the total energy and detox bundle. That's what I do every day. Plus I take my turmeric product, and then at checkout, they can put in the code BMRE and get an additional 5% off. So you guys can get a double discount with the BMRE at checkout. And we have a double your money back guarantee on all of our products. And if people want more information, how to learn, we have a group coaching deal. And I also have a podcast called The Health Hero Show. It's on most major platforms.
Excellent. We'll add that on the show notes. It has been a pleasure. Thank you for sharing. You're clearly well-versed and got the science down pack and the research down pack on this. So it has been very, very informative to just sit with you and kind of share your story and how you've evolved and change your whole body. You reset your whole system, and you're teaching men and women all over the world to do this. So I'm grateful that you came on today to share that knowledge with us.
Well, you know what? I'm very grateful that I'm here. I'll be 48 in a couple weeks, and I feel like I'm 19. So I want to share that with other people if they're suffering.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please comment and tell us what was your favorite part, your favorite habit that you are going to try out for yourself today. Comment below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the top of your best morning routine ever. Stay blessed.